it just pisses me off whenever a man's shirtless. I'm like, you don't, because I feel like it's a privilege that they don't even identify. And I'm just like, look at you walking around, not a care in the world.
Yep.
And you're just like not worried about your safety, not worried about getting arrested, not worried about having people yell at you or honk at you or throw things at you. Like, I can't even imagine what would happen if one of us or touch you or do worse.
Hello and welcome to Fuck Yeah, the podcast where we say fuck yeah to hot mom summer. I am one of your hosts, Sarah, and I am joined by my co-host, Robin.
I just got off the hot mom summer train.
It is a Leo new moon today where we are. It'll be a little bit later than that.
Yeah.
Wherever you all are.
Well, I guess Mercury starts retrograding tomorrow.
Yes.
So, sorry.
Yeah. So we get a little bit of a new beginning. We get a little bit of like having to slow down a bit too, which is a lot of what we've been doing the last few months.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot has happened. And we haven't even caught up that much. I sincerely miss talking to you in depth every week. Like, it's actually been... I've been missing it a lot. So I'm really happy that we're doing this again and getting it going. And we're going to do it a little differently this time.
We are. You're going to all stay tuned as we kind of figure out what the new format is. Mm-hmm. We are really excited to be back, but I think we're also really conscious of managing our energy and having this not feel like a thing that is on a to-do list that we are checking off of a list.
Yeah.
And sometimes in our old format with how we were booking guests and how we were conducting conversations, it was very much like, oh, we've got to stick to this really rigid schedule of getting something out every single week. And it's like, who says?
Right. Who says? Yeah. And part of what we were missing out on, I think that our original intention is just the really in-depth conversations that we get into naturally with our friends and compatriots and things. So it's nice to kind of get back into that mode again and get into deeper, richer conversations and even letting the conversations guide us rather than us, always having our questions ready and everything, which is, I think we have really great episodes and I've been so proud of the work that we've done, but I'm also looking forward to this more relaxed, slightly, hopefully more authentic and deeper is what we're going for this time.
Yeah. So we might do some interviews that span 3 episodes or, singular conversations with people. We're going to try to be coming back and doing most of this in person because we kind of want the energy exchange between us. And we think that you all will enjoy that as well, rather than doing it over a screen. I mean, I'll speak for myself. I'm on a screen all the time.
Yeah.
And so I think the quality of presence that I bring changes a little bit when I'm in person and a little bit more relaxed. So we are going to be setting up a Patreon and we're going to be trying some different things out. So you'll probably see our video. If you sign up for our Patreon, you'll see videos of the episodes. And of course, we'll continue putting out the content for free on all of the podcast feeds. But don't expect a full episode every week because we're going to be really... This Leo new moon, we are putting out the intention that we want to be really true to ourselves. And we're going to be putting out things in ways that feel full of ease and full of heart.
Yeah.
And so that might mean that sometimes we're just putting out a segment. Sometimes we're putting out a full episode. Come along this journey with us.
Yeah. It's going to be wild.
Yeah.
I love Leo season.
Well, you are our resident Leo.
I don't know if you've noticed that. Yeah. So I love this time of year and I'm really excited to catch up. let's just get in depth with each other, Sarah.
Yeah. Let's
What
do a
if
whole bunch of fuck yes.
Yeah. What do you have any fuck yeahs right now? What's fucking your yeah?
Okay. I mean, I have so many fuck yeahs, but I'll just start with the one that's like right on the surface, which is I just got back from a week-long vacation.
Yes.
I haven't done that where I've stayed in a place for a week.
Yeah.
I've taken a week off of work and like done stuff around the house, but this was like 7 days straight of being in the ocean, just a little south of us here in LA. We were in San Clemente. Ruby took surfing lessons.
How'd they do?
Amazing.
I love it.
They caught a wave their very first time on the board. And then the whole, I mean, it was just like, I stopped counting at a certain point in the first lesson, maybe 40 waves.
Amazing.
Girl in the Curl in Dana Point. I highly recommend them. They were awesome. I got on the boogie board every day. I have cracked the code. All of my friends have told me go in to the Pacific Ocean with a wetsuit. And I have such a fraught relationship with my wetsuit because it's so damn hard to get into. And like with all of my like perimenopausal stuff and my like weight gain and all of that, like my wetsuit is like right at the threshold of what still fits me. So it is such a pain in the ass to get into. But I spent hours in the water.
Wow.
I have to tell you, if you're coming to California and you want to get in the ocean, rent a wetsuit. It was so worth it. I haven't been in the ocean for that many hours in a row since I was a kid. It was incredible. It was so fun. Ruby is such a water baby. And I only had like one big wipeout where like I got so tense that I got Charlie horses in both my calves. But Ruby just does this thing. They call it the washing machine. I'm pretty sure it's my friend Kat who like gave that language to Rubes. But it's like Ruby just like goes limp if a wave knocks them over, and they just like go with the flow. I try to prevent myself from going under, and I try to like control this. So there's just so many lessons in the ocean. It was wonderful. We had a just really fantastic time.
I love it. I love that so
and
much.
I got tan and I got so much vitamin D, and it really makes a difference.
You look amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I feel so refreshed.
You look like summer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you had your hot mom summer, which I want to hear about. This felt like my hot mom week at the beach.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great.
Oh, I love when people love the ocean. I mean, I'm so happy it's there for other people. But I was able to reconnect with my chlorinated clear water at home in the pool in a way that I haven't felt since I was a kid as well. Like I used to just love diving and, you know, just being a mermaid searching for things on the floor of the pool is like my favorite thing to do. And now that because I am no longer conforming to some of the what I consider unreasonable rules set down by my former. Okay, real quick. I was trying to come up with a word for soon to be divorced. And it's kind of like, you know, soon to be married fiance, right? So I've been kind of calling him my Deonce. So we're promising that we're going to divorce is where we're at this point. And so my Deonce would have like a lot of rules about the pool and how we cover it up constantly and all of this stuff. And I'm just like, you know what? From May to October, it's going to be uncovered. And yes, it will cost more. And what we have gained from it is now Luca now swims and loves it and is super confident in the water and now likes the beach also because of that. But a big thing for me and why I think it even happened is because it's just always open and available to us. And it's so much warmer than when we cover it, so much warmer. And I have just rekindled that thing of being underwater and the amount of just ease that my body goes into of just relaxation and regulation. like there's so many times I'll be like just irritated and annoyed or, upset about something, and I can go in the water. I'll throw things in there for me to dive for.
I love it.
Like these little plastic gems that Mars has, and I'll just be like, ooh, throw the clear ones. Those are hard to find, because I love coasting as close as I can get to the bottom of the pool. Anyway.
I mean, there is something just naturally cleansing. Like each of the elements has a different superpower.
Yeah.
I've been really missing not having a big bathtub in my house, because that was something I had before, and I took baths all the time. And so this whole winter, I wasn't really in the water very much. Yeah. And now that it's summertime, I've been in the water a lot, whether it's your pool, whether it's our little above ground pool, whether it's the ocean. I mean, as a Pisces, obviously, it is a very sacred space to me, but water is so cleansing.
Yeah. And being weightless.
Yes.
And being able to float and like zoom through the water. I love pushing off a wall and just coasting. It's so exciting and relaxing at the same time. I have to point out a sensation that I have in my body of just talking about this stuff is this like deeper kind of, poor kid shame about that I even have these things, or that we're even like able to take a vacation and stuff. Like my life is completely chaotic right now, but it's also so far beyond what I anticipated it to be. Like my imaginings of what my life was going to be like was very limited by my upbringing and the amount of resources that we had. And like, I have a certain amount of just feeling a little, I don't know if it's shame or just guilt or something about even literally broadcasting that we're able to do these things. And, but it's also, I'm very grateful that I have these things. Every time I go into the pool, and I'll say it out loud to the boys, like, we're so lucky to have this. We are just, it's an unbelievable privilege. And I'm very grateful for it. Like, I don't know how it happened. It was not intentional. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, but
because you and I have such a similar experience with single moms. And one of the things my mom says to me a lot is like, I'm so impressed with your ability to take time off. That was never modeled for you. And like, I've traveled a lot, and it's just a thing that I have really tried to cultivate. I think also like I've had friends who've modeled it for me, and I don't necessarily do a lot of world travel, but I'm really intentional about getting away for weekends or taking time off. Like that is just something that I feel like is so essential to my well-being and just general maintenance. Yeah. And I feel like, my mom came on part of this trip that like my mom came for half of it, and Andrea came back because we have the same cat sitter. So like Andrea spent half of the vacation with us. My mom spent the other half of the vacation with us. And I felt a little bit like the perception is that I'm bossy about like the setup and how things are going to go. And I'm like getting to a place where I kind of feel okay about being a bit bossy about my downtime and my well-being. Like,
first I want to say like, you're, at least for me, you're my favorite boss. So boss it up. I think I love it when you're bossy. And then I do think that it's the intergenerational trauma, and then also the evolution of just the culture that we're in, that self-care is even on the table. Yeah. It used to not, like my mom's self-care was a screwdriver every night. Right. Right. And it's like, that's what you get.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a blessing. This is another one of my fuck yeahs right now, is the Olympics. Women's sports are giving me so much life.
I love it so much. I've never been into it, and this time I'm just like into it.
Yeah. And I just feel like a fuck yeah for me right now is to live in this time.
Yeah.
A of all, where, self-support and self-care is actually something that is, and mental health
Right.
is being discussed.
Yeah.
And there are resources and it's not stigmatized to like access that support. To live in a time when women's sports are getting a lot of attention is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Also, to live in a time where we are working against anti-fatness and like all of the different bodies
Yes.
are being celebrated at
Yes.
the Olympics. And I know that this isn't universal, but like at least the like sliver of the internet that I live on and like the stuff that we're choosing to watch, like the fucking rugby team winning the very first medal for women's U.S. rugby. That was the only sport that we had at my college. There were it wasn't a sports school, but Reed had a rugby team and the women's rugby team.
We want the butchest kind of sport we can have.
And they were always way better than the men. Like the women's rugby team, like that was our sport. And so to see it gaining so much attention and to see folks like Ilona Maher being such a huge content creator around body neutrality and also just like that strength can come in so many different forms. Like it is doing some healing for me. It's like really holding a mirror up to like the body acceptance stuff that I'm really struggling with, particularly as I'm going through perimenopause. Like, I'm just like, I'm so fucking thankful to live in this time.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been watching it with Mars a lot, and we don't really watch anything but the women's stuff.
Yeah, that's great.
And
the boys don't like complain.
No, it's beyond. Well, Luke is just not that interested.
Okay.
But Mars is like into it. He's like, can we watch the Olympics? And he's like, when is Simone Biles going to do? And I was telling him all this stuff about Simone Biles, about how high she can jump and everything. And even when she was like doing her last floor routine that won the gold and everything, and he was like, look at that. Nobody can do that. Look at how high she went and like all this stuff. And then like we were watching Sha'Carri, and I was just like, look at the thighs on this person. Like she's so like just powerful. And he was like just blown away by it. And then we were watching there's this TikTok where they play this like dun 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 kind of music where it's like all of like Sha'Carri going across the finish line and doing these like badass poses. And I was like, nothing gets it like that. Like, and I point out, like, look at her hair, look at her nails. Like, she's doing it exactly how she wants to do it. She's not conforming to like, because it's just so far from like the 80s and just where it was just hypersexualized whenever women were competing and degrading, and everybody, like, I remember just all of this bullshit around like, black athletes coming out and with gymnastics and everything, and like the way the judges would like take points down for grace or whatever shit, and like, I highly recommend the Simone Biles documentary on Netflix. There's only a couple episodes out now. I think that they're probably shooting at the Olympics, so there's going to be more episodes. I did watch it with Ruby. If you have kids, they are talking about all the sexual assault stuff with Nasser. They are, there is, I think it's like TV 14. So it's not necessarily great for younger kids if you don't feel equipped to be having those conversations. But we were pausing a lot and then having dialogue about like, wait, what does this mean? Right.
And it's still such a hurdle for Black women, especially the fact that people are more fucking concerned with Simone Biles's hair.
Right.
Can we not, please?
Yeah.
This is an athlete. We are lucky to just exist in the same planet and time as this young athlete, And I have to say, like, I have cried so many times around these Olympics and also watching that documentary and what she has done for destigmatizing mental health. Like there's always going to be haters out there, but the fact that she at the top of her sport took the time off at the Tokyo Olympics and truly took the time, like took 2 years before going back to training. Wow. And then the gymnastics has changed so much because her coaches, when she said, okay, I'm ready to come back and train for the Olympics, they said to her, no, we're not training for the Olympics. We'll start training again. We can focus on getting your skills back, but we're not training for the Olympics. We're not going into this in a goal-oriented way.
Wow.
Because that's not helpful for your state of mind.
Like the pressure.
She was going to therapy weekly, and like everyone around her is actually supporting her in that versus like the old ways of starving them, making them, I can't remember the name of the gymnast who did her vault on a broken ankle, and then they're like carrying her off as if it's fucking heroic. And of course it is. I don't want to diminish what all these people accomplished, but at what fucking cost? Like the fact that we are dealing with trauma in a way that is ever so slightly better than how we used to. And I just can't wait to see the ways in which her advocacy continues to blossom and develop, because I know for sure having a kid with anxiety who looks up to Simone Biles, like Ruby is way better off by having Simone Biles take the time off and take care of herself, because it's setting such an incredible example.
Yeah. 100%.
I'm so inspired by all of them.
Yeah.
What heroes.
Yeah. I love it. Mars pointed out something that I was just noticing but not voicing, because we were watching some of the men's gymnastics also. And he was like, why are they wearing pants? And I was like, why are they wearing pants? And I was like, where are their sparkles?
Why do you think?
I was like, where's their wingtips?
Yeah.
You know, like, where's the foundation on these boys? And so it was nice that he actually did that a long time ago, years ago. We were driving down the street, and I'll never forget it, where there was a man on Hyperion jogging with no shirt on. And it was just me and Mars in the car, and he was still in a car seat in the back. And he was like, why is he not wearing a shirt? And I was like, men are just allowed to do that. And he was like, but women can't? And I was like, nope. And he's like, that doesn't seem fair. And I was like, you're right. That's not fucking fair. Yeah. And I swear to God, ever since then, and I was, probably on this train anyway, but it's just nice to have like a little young person notice this. Yeah. It just pisses me off whenever a man's shirtless. I'm like, you don't, because I feel like it's a privilege that they don't even identify. And I'm just like, look at you walking around, not a care in the world. Yep. And you're just like not worried about your safety, not worried about getting arrested, not worried about having people yell at you or honk at you or throw things at you. Like, I can't even imagine what would happen if one of us or touch you or do worse. It's like,
no, I agree with you. I do not like seeing men walking around topless. It feels, I don't know, a little insulting.
Yeah. It's like, wow, good
Read
for
the
you.
room.
Read the room. Read the room. If we're in a place where everybody can be topless, please go ahead. Yeah. But it's like, it's so unrecognized. And okay, so speaking of body acceptance and all of this stuff, and so it was a while ago, I think 2 summers ago, or maybe, I can't remember. Was it last summer? I think it was 2 summers ago that I stopped shaving my legs.
Oh, yes.
And I had hairy leg summer.
I think it was last summer.
Right. Yeah. And so that was like hard to do. Yeah. And I was like going out and I'm feeling defiant, but squeamish and weird about it. And then, winter went by and I don't see my legs as often because they're covered up. And then summer came around again. And I did get to a point by the end of that summer where I was like petting my leg hair and being like, you're cool. We can be friends. Yeah. And then now this summer, it's a different thing where I'm either not noticing that I have it, or I'm wearing it as almost like a way to show, in my mind, other people that they could if they wanted to. Like I feel more like I'm so comfortable with it now that I'm just like, hey, you could do it. And not that I need other people to do it. Please do whatever you want. But I just feel like just having more people out there refusing.
I'm an ambassador.
Hairy legs. Yes, hairy leg ambassador. That's my new title. Thank you. Thank you for the words.
I love it. Yeah. Even though we've made progress as we're talking about, the Olympics and stuff, like my mom told me those uniforms that the American gymnasts were wearing weigh 5 pounds.
What? Because of
how many rhinestones they have on
ridiculous.
them. Like, they're actually harder to compete in because you are trying to show the grandeur of America and, the femininity and flashiness. Although I will say the Brazilian
that gold and black one. Ooh, I love gold and black.
So good. They're so good. Oh, they're so good.
I mean, they're beautiful, but to me, it's just like, it's a requirement. And that's the problem.
That would be really amazing if we started seeing some male gymnasts also insisting, whether the team uniforms are that way or not, but like in their individual competitions, if they're like, we're going to wear some rhinestones too.
Yeah. Or like, I was annoyed at how lackluster their outfits were. And then I was really noticing the difference after their routines, how they go and cheer with their teammates.
Oh, I mean
the hugs versus the hard high fives and
you perform your gender. There was one point in the men's competition, and I have to be honest, I didn't pay as much attention to them as I did to the women's. But there was like a big bear hug where they snuggled into each other's necks, and I was like, you never see that between men. Like, that is so just juicy to me. But the whole the floor routines,
they don't play music,
the ways that they it's completely different, and it is because of our
so annoying,
so deeply ingrained gender norms.
I feel like they have to even work harder because gymnastics for men is kind of seen as already emasculated. And so I felt like they were performing harder than the swim guys have to. The swim guys are wearing nothing.
Yes.
They're wearing so close to nothing. Yeah. But it's not considered emasculating to swim fast.
Yeah.
But to be able to do a bunch of somersaults all in a row and flip in the air is somehow too prancy pants. So they have to wear these are my pants have stirrups, but they're not that tight. So okay, bro. Okay. And you're white tank top. We got it. Uh-huh.
Well, okay. While we're on this topic, you saw the Feast of Dionysus.
Yeah, I saw clips of it. Yeah.
The opening ceremony.
Yeah. I loved how queer it was.
It was so queer, and then you have seen the backlash. Yes, and of the Christians.
What I love about it is that, or at least what TikTok has pointed out in multiple videos, is how it's actually Christianity co-opted a lot of this imagery that is from more ancient times where shit was a lot queerer and weirder, a little more fun.
Yeah, a little more fun. Yeah, totally. Yeah, I'm a little disappointed that the Olympic Committee did any apologizing.
Yeah.
Because they had a threesome in the opening ceremonies. They had all of these fabulous drag queens. And it's own it.
Yeah.
You programmed this. You curated this. You had to know there was going to be backlash.
Yeah.
So why are you then backtracking and apologizing for something that you were very intentional about because it is part of your culture that you embrace?
Yeah. And I wonder, it's I bet there was some money thing involved. Somebody was going to pull some fund. I mean, I don't know anything more in depth than what TikTok told me. So
I just think that it is always the drag queens and the trans folks that were so, and black women and black folks in general that we're willing to give up on, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
there is something else top of mind that's sort of adjacent to this that we have not had a chance to talk about. And so I'm sort of dying to talk about. So if you are not into politics and you need to fast forward through this, I support you in whatever you need to do to take care of yourself. But the appointment of J.D. Vance as Trump's running mate, to the Trump assassination, to Biden stepping down, or attempted assassination, excuse me, Biden stepping down, Kamala becoming our candidate. So there's so much to unpack here. One of my favorite things that is happening right now in the dialogue is, have you seen the attorney? I believe their name is Sophia Nelson, out of Michigan, trans attorney, old friend of J.D. Vance's, who is, I mean, first of all, people are sharing all the receipts.
Yep.
Like, I've got the text messages. Sophia Nelson is out there being really public and speaking directly to trans kids and saying, you need to know that you are a political ploy.
Yeah.
A lot of these politicians don't actually believe that there is anything wrong with queerness, transness, any of these issues that they are making part of their platform.
Which just makes it so much more disgusting.
The effects of the legislation are so harmful.
Yeah.
But to have someone in such a high position right now publicly receiving this level of scrutiny on that ticket is so satisfying to me. And of course, it's not going to change the minds of the base,
right?
The Republican base and the folks that they are pandering to, because they have stirred up such a moral panic around all of this. Yeah. But I hope at least it breaks through a little bit of the noise for either undecided voters, for trans kids who are struggling with all of the backlash that they receive because of this rhetoric.
Young people.
Of just like, oh, it's actual total bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm really just hoping that it's activating the newest voters to like really mobilize and get out and vote.
I am so excited,
too.
that that Sunday that Biden stepped down, I had not realized, and I'm going to, be straight out here. Like, I am all for Kamala.
Yeah.
And I get it. Like, the progressives are pissed about a number of issues that are totally worthwhile to be pissed about. Gaza is an absolute disaster. But who do we want to be fighting?
Right.
This is just the thing that keeps coming into my mind. Who do we want to be pushing to do the right thing? And I had not realized the degree to which I had lost hope.
Likewise.
Until that Sunday.
Likewise.
And I felt a little bit of hope creep in, and it was a scary feeling to me. I was like,
yeah.
Oh, it is really scary in these times to be hopeful that we might get a little bit back on track, or at least not fall into this bleak 1925 agenda.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I feel exactly the same. And it's like my For You page completely changed, which, I mean, the algorithm is in my brain and it like reads my mind.
Yeah.
And so I had no politics, cannot. It's like looking at the sun. I cannot, it is harmful to me. I know that it's there. It is constantly beaming on me and radiating me. And now it's like, I just want to eat all of it up. I'm like, give me all of the memes, all of the, like, I'm like the feminine nominons. Like, it makes me feel so much better. And I'm worried about feeling better. Yeah. But seriously, before that weekend, we're like in our own minds and in conversation with each other, with friends and everything, talking about like, all right, so if we need to leave, like what countries are on your list? where are you going to go? You know, and like everybody has like a plan in the back of their head, or like, are we going to stay and fight? Or like, are we going to be protected enough in California? And I'm like sitting here going like, well, maybe this is what will get California to secede and we can be our own fucking country. Like, that's where my mind is.
Yeah, my mind is definitely like, I don't think I'm ever going to be that person that's going to entertain leaving the country.
Yeah.
For a couple of reasons. A of all, I don't have the financial resources to do that. I don't have the freedom of like just being a single person who can just go and,
Right.
you know, leave it all up to chance. And like my co-parenting situation makes it such that it would be very challenging for us to live in different places.
For me, when I think about leaving though, it's like we're like 1939 Germany space, you know, like, or like we're in Poland, you know, it's like that kind of where I'm wanting to be, there's a certain point where like war can get so bad that people like in mass are fleeing. And at what point do you want to be in that fleeing part of it, or the people, you know, like things can get real bad.
Well, yeah. And so I think where my mind was going up until very recently was just like, okay, civilizations have made it through fascist dictators before.
Yeah.
What does that look like?
Right.
How do you mentally prepare for your economic system collapsing?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can't.
Right.
But in the same way that COVID, had someone told me at the beginning of COVID that we would have been in it really for 2 years
Right.
versus a few weeks,
Right.
like my brain couldn't handle it.
Right.
I was like in this kind of bargaining space trying to figure out, is there any way that I could mentally prepare for something that is possibly so bad that, you know, essentially our systems crumble?
Right. It's like, when do you jump out of the pot?
And it
you
is
know?
our first like at-home wartime type experience.
Mm-hmm.
And now I feel like the thing that Kamala has done, like as soon as I saw Brat coded messaging around her campaign, because I have been so deep in that album this summer.
Oh, really?
Oh my God. The Charlie XCX album, and then the
Sarah's
Lord.
Gen Z. I
don't
didn't know.
I know. I feel like she taps into this like raver in, because that's like,
Yeah.
was my early year, like my teen years, and into my like early 20s. It just is so like that dance culture is really baked into me.
Yeah.
And she taps into that for me. And then the Lorde response to her song Girl, I don't even know if you've gone this deep.
I don't
into
know
it.
this.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so Charlie XCX has a song Girl about her kind of fraught relationship with Lorde. And it's a little bit like it's sort of set up where Lorde could respond, but in a pseudo battle. And the way that Lorde responded was 2 days later putting out a song that was incredibly vulnerable.
What?
And was like, I totally get why you feel this way. And I was having all of this like eating disorder stuff happening, and your life seems so amazing, and I couldn't be in photos with you. So like, talk about like the time that we're in, like that conversation that happened between them musically just like hit deep into my soul in a way that I was just like, I am living for all of this.
Well, just real quick also, the comparison of that, also the emotional intelligence via song of that versus like the Kendrick Drake sitch also, which gets... And I don't know a lot of details about that, but it's just like, it's a very different way to handle it, it sounds like.
Yeah. And it's like, I mean, it's the remix version of the song is so good. You have to listen to it. It's Lorde and Charlie XCX, Girl. Maybe it's Girl So Confusing. Anyways, you can find it. It's so fucking good. It's my summer jam. I love it. It's got all the feels and the dance beat, and I'm living for it. So when Kamala's team turned her Twitter, well, Charlie XCX tweeted, Kamala is Brat. then they jumped on it. I was like, oh, this communications team knows what's up.
Yeah.
And this changes the whole game because the way that they've been doing polling, the voting population completely changes if you can get different people out to vote.
Yes.
The whole dynamic
That's
changes.
my big hope with okay, so I just real quick, there's been discussion around whether to refer to Vice President Kamala Harris as Kamala or Harris.
Oh,
and there's this whole thing of like, oh, we always refer to women by their first name, like Hillary and stuff like that. However, I saw her tour bus says Kamala huge on it. And I also think that it's just like a much more fun cool name. So, and it's more personable, and I think that she is so personable. So I just wanted to point out that before we keep going with the conversation, because I want to call her Kamala also. And I do feel like seeing, it's like floor to ceiling Kamala letters on the side of the bus. It's not Harris, you know? So I feel like she's self-referring to herself as Kamala in that sense.
Yeah. No, I really appreciate that call out. And I also appreciate about her that, and her team, that she is savvy to know that now is the time to have that level of accessibility.
Yes.
The politicians that have come before, you know, Barack Obama being an exception to the rule, just have had such a distance. Also, I think Kamala is a name that is more indicative of her culture.
Yes.
And her heritage.
Much more distinctive.
That I think is possibly also part of the decision on her campaign's part to use her first name rather than Harris.
Yes.
Which is much more common.
Yeah. I mean, Harris makes me think of like all of the old white man politicians we've had for centuries.
Totally. And with Biden, it's just like, oh my gosh, had he stuck it out in the race, like it was getting to a point of such hubris.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, it doesn't actually fucking matter that you've had a decent presidency.
Yeah.
We don't care.
Right. And I do want to point out something that I haven't seen at all anywhere. The amount of, what is the character that it took for him to actually do that, because it actually was ultimately his decision.
Yep.
And if he were many different other people, I mean, to let go of the most, you know, quote unquote, powerful position in the world, willingly.
Yes.
I mean, it's.
I think he secures his legacy.
Yeah.
By that move. You know, I think it is probably if he hadn't gotten COVID. Because you can only imagine the cognitive. I mean, he's had COVID so many times now.
I wonder if he got COVID.
I
felt like it was
conspiracy theory.
I mean, I also really don't know it. I don't want to be like as I get older doing this, but like when I saw like, you know, the ear thing, and I'm like,
oh, well,
with the assassination attempt, I'm like,
assassination was super questionable. I got physically ill because I was like, it's over.
The martyrdom.
Regardless of whether this was like an actual attempt or staged or whatever, it's over.
Yeah. I felt very similar. I was like, fuck, this just got so much worse.
Yes.
And then it got so much better. And I was like, what?
I know. This is like season finale vibes.
Yeah. I was
the season finale of America.
I was writing to a friend like, this is, it feels like last season, like we're in like season 10 and they're just really trying to keep people hanging on and trying to make it crazy, you know? And I just like, whoever is writing this, like, please stop,
I know.
Like settle down. But then it got so good.
And then please give us the happy ending. Please.
Yes. I was like, that's what I thought. I was like, are we actually going to have a happy ending?
Yeah.
Like,
we need to vote. We need to donate. We need to volunteer. We need to write letters. Like, this is incredibly important because to me, to have Kamala Harris running when the platform on the agenda and what policies will be enacted if the Republicans get elected has already been laid out, which means no bodily autonomy for women. And Kamala Harris is actually fucking saying abortion.
Yes.
When she's talking about the issue,
Yes.
which, thank you, where LGBTQ rights, forget about it. Like, we just on the social issues alone, not even dealing with all the like economic policies, stripping down all of the government agencies, what the Supreme Court has recently done in terms of shifting power from the agencies to the courts.
Yeah.
Project 2025 is so harmful. We have to fucking vote.
Yeah. And I'm just going to take this opportunity. I've said it before, but trans rights are totally, completely the same in my mind as women's rights.
Yes.
They are completely intertwined. The reason they don't like people being able to transition and be their authentic selves in that way is because they want a clearly defined difference between men and women.
Yeah.
And so it's like, no, you can't blur that line. That's the problem with queerness and gayness and all of this stuff. And it's like every time, somebody's assaulted or put down for being gay, it's really, I think, deeply a hatred. It's a misogyny deep down.
Yep.
You know, so
It's like different sides of the same coin.
right, like the Roe versus Wade, all of the attacks on trans rights and transitioning and all of the banning, transition, gender affirming care.
Healthcare,
it's
bathrooms,
one and the same.
schools, pronouns,
Yeah.
all of it. It's
Yeah.
all part of
Yeah.
the same agenda, which is, I think, ultimately geared towards stirring up fear among a huge voting bloc so that power
Money.
and money can get centralized.
Exactly. And a big part of
So it's the smoke and mirrors.
Smoke
we
and mirrors.
use
Yeah.
so that power and money can stay in the hands of white men.
Yeah.
And wasn't it recently in a speech that the Republicans put, I'm using the Republicans because I don't like to use Cheeto's name too much, but like he put out there, like, if you vote now, you're not going to have to vote
so disgusting.
again.
Creepy. I
And
love the
it's
weird
like-
thing too that they've been doing. Calling
With
them
Vance.
weird is very cute. It's really like
very cute.
you weirdos.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the word as weird as an empowerment, but I know that they don't, and so I think it's like a nice way to like because they were talking about how like the thing of making it like too big, too powerful of like they're going to, turn this into a fascist state and like, you won't be voting after this and he'll never leave is like somehow not effective, but weird is. It's like, fine, do
Yes.
weird. Do weird. Do you want to play, because by the time this comes out, we'll have been proven right or wrong about play a little game of who's going to be VP pick for Kamala Harris.
Sure. I mean, I'm like, I have no idea.
Yeah.
Do you have theories?
I have theories.
Okay, great.
I
I wanna
have
hear it.
one that I think will happen.
Yeah.
And that I'm going to put, that I would put money on. That
Oh,
would
yeah?
be strategic. I can't remember his fucking name, but he's the governor of Minnesota.
Tim Walz. He's so great.
He's the one that first called them weird. And after seeing him speak a few times, I'm like, okay, he has that down home, white guy look and cadence. He's very plain talking, but very articulate and very clear and just being like, it's just plain weird.
Yes.
And I'm like, and so he has that, I think, where a lot of, the white guys in the middle America or whatever could identify with.
I would way rather he be on the ticket than Shapiro, but we are clearly not the voters that the Democratic Party is trying to appeal to in this election, or maybe really even ever.
And this would be like a scary dream. this would be like a really hopeful, but it's like, I know there's a lot of rumors about Pete Buttigieg being vetted. And he's so good on shows. He's like the only one that goes on Fox really and really holds his own and everything. And I know it's just a little too much to ask and it might be too much for people, but I'm like, oh my God, I would burst into tears. Like, I don't know what I would do.
Okay,
like,
no,
it's too much. It's too much.
We should make a bet here because he was the only one that I was going to say, if I have an opinion, it's that it will not.
It'll be not. Yeah,
Buttigieg.
I don't think it'll be him.
And I agree with
But
you.
What if it was? And what if they won like that? I can't stand it. It's just very risky, very risky. And it sucks that that's risky.
Pretty amazing. I mean, the thing in my mind, if we were writing the season, is that she would have another woman.
Yeah.
So like having a gay man
Yeah.
is really the next best thing.
Yeah. I did see a thing with Meg Whitman doing a speech. And for a while I was like, oh, she would be a great choice. But then I saw her doing the speech and I was like, yeah. She was very much reading what she was saying. And Buttigieg and the Minnesota guy do have, like, they're able to plain talk off the cuff, or at least make their speeches seem off the cuff, which is an incredible thing to be able to do. And Kamala Harris is able to do that as well, amazingly. Like, seeing her talk, the contrast. The problem with Biden, there wasn't that. I mean, there was a contrast, obviously, but it was like, just like, kind of, he trailed off.
No,
you know?
He was done.
He was done.
He was done.
And
young Biden could have gone up.
Yes,
in this election.
Totally. But Kamala's just so vibrant. It's like going into the Wizard of Oz and there's like all this color and you're like, yes, please.
Yeah, that's a great way of describing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm excited. I haven't felt excited in this way about politics for a long time. Being someone who has canvassed door to door and done phone banks and done like all the many campaigns I have volunteered on. And just in the last 8 years, it's just felt really hard to stay involved and to have a feeling of like, okay, yes.
Yeah.
Things could turn around.
Phone banking is really hard. And to do that for Biden would be soul crushing.
I cannot even imagine.
But to do it for Kamala, you can handle the shitty responses and the hang-ups and all of that stuff. I could do that for Kamala.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we'll post some resources for people if you want to donate or volunteer and all of that stuff. So
and letter really writing is really a very easy way where that was the last form of volunteering I did, and I was like, oh, this is so fabulous because you write a letter from you're given some talking points, but you write a letter from your perspective to voters who are in some sort of similar demographic to you. So whether you're like signing up with a mom's group, writing to other moms, or you're just writing to folks that don't vote very often in areas that are swing areas, and you just say, this is why I think it's important to vote, and you put your little stamps and your letters and you put them in the mail, and
so
it just
old-fashioned.
Feels so. And then I don't know, I'm never gonna be the person that receives one of those letters, but I would be excited to have my name handwritten on an envelope and actually get a real piece of mail.
I like how we've all become how it was when we were kids and you get mail. It so rarely happens. Yeah. Okay. We should probably, this was a lot of politics.
Yes, it was.
Right?
Yes.
I could really go on and on about it forever.
Oh, okay. Well, I think we're going to stop the conversation there for now.
Yeah. I mean, because it could go on and on. I have so many political thoughts and nuances. I got to start sending you TikToks just to it's a lot. There's so much going on and who knows where it'll be. But.
Yeah, I know. Who knows where it's leading, but it feels like it's probably leading somewhere better than where it was leading. We've done a course correction.
Let's just say in this present moment, it's nice to have hope.
Yes.
Because it was real dismal a few weeks ago.
Yep. It was really bleak.
Yeah.
And next week, we're going to pick up the conversation with a little bit more of the personal and what we've been doing while we've been on hiatus.
Yes.
Yeah, there's been some fun, sexy, hot mama things happening. It is very nice to be back on the mic with you, Robin.
Likewise.
I am excited about this period ahead and going a little bit more with like our gut and our instinct and our heart and letting that guide how we're going to do this. So, you know, I think from a listener perspective, you might find like, oh, I really liked that I could always rely on this show to be an hour long. I'm sorry. That's probably not going to be your experience from here on out. Who knows? We might gravitate back towards that, but we're really going to just try to have conversations that go wherever they're going to take us.
Yeah.
And we hope that you're going to come on that journey with us. We know you have lots of different choices in terms of what to put in your ear holes. And we hope that you will continue to join our journey. We are bringing on some guests in the coming weeks.
We have a big event coming up in October.
Yes, we do. We have an event as part of the Circa Fest on October 19th. It'll be at the Eagle. It's in collaboration with Cruise LA. We're really excited about that. And, you know, always, if you can subscribe, leave a review, all of that really helps us.
You could even join the Patreon.
Yes, yes. You can join us over on Patreon where we will have more details about what that's all about.
Until next time, fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah. Fuck Yeah Podcast is hosted and produced by Sarah Tomchesson and Robin Jennings. Theme music is by She, Her, Sir and Discofied by Robin Jennings. You can find us on Instagram and TikTok at Fuck Yeah Pod. You can support queer feminist media on Patreon, patreon.com/fuckyeahpod, or you could email us at fyeahpod@gmail.com. Make sure to like and leave us a review. We appreciate it very much.